Welcome back to another season of Intercepted with Kevin Byard, but we're intercepting Kevin today. That's Ryan McGuffey. I'm David Kaplan. Great to be with you, my man.
Great to be back,
season.
Man. Another season 2.
Let's go.
Crazy.
It's always good
Normally
to be
I'm
renewed.
doing all the intercepting, but I'll let you guys,
Correct.
take it
It's
this
our
time.
first career interception.
There we go.
So how are things going? You got a brand new coaching staff. I watched the game, as did Ryan, the other day against Buffalo, 38-0.
Yes.
But the energy seems different up here being at training camp.
Yeah, it is. This is, I kind of talked to you guys before pre-show, but this has been the toughest training camp of my 10-year career, which is still weird to kind of say 10-year career, but it's been intense. I think that started from the spring, Ben Johnson has set the tone, the right tone of how much things need to change around here. Obviously, we know we haven't had success these past couple of years, and obviously last year was a huge letdown. And I think the accountability part of it, I think he's brought that here. Obviously, bringing on a really great staff with Dennis Allen as well running the defense, man. It's been fun, though. I think for me, being a 10-year veteran, having as many live periods in practice it's been different for me, but I think just as an organization, it's very needed. And I think he's brought the needed energy to Halas Hall to try to invoke that change that we need so desperately.
When you see both, not just the offense and defense, the competition's always going to be there.
Right.
But the fact that everyone knows that the tone has changed and that you guys are walking into practice and you're hitting and you're popping, that puts the offense on notice, it puts the defense on notice. How does that change the way you guys think as you approach the regular season, knowing that you've had all of this type of intensity in preseason?
Well, I think the good thing about it is that, like, you don't just walk into the building saying, like, hey, we got another practice. Like, we're having conversations at the locker like, hey, this is going to be a real practice today. Like, you might want to take some Aleve or some Advil or something like that. It's just one of those deals where you're coming in the building every single day with that right mindset because there's no freebies, there's no free days, there's no off days. I think, like you said, just that attention to detail and making sure that guys, everybody is on it. But like I said, it's been fun. We've been competing. I mean, we have a talented roster. So it's like the guys that we're going to begin on offense is going to be just as good as the guys that Detroit's going to have or Green Bay, Minnesota. So it's been fun, man, to kind of measure ourselves up to obviously our skilled players on offense, but obviously we had our joint practice and things like that. So I think you guys have kind of seen just how intense and how good our training camp has been based upon some of the results in the preseason. You know what I mean? Like the 38-0. Obviously, we know it's preseason. Most teams aren't playing their starters and stuff like that, but it's just letting you know based upon how, our 2s and 3s are out there playing. Guys are out there forcing turnovers, making plays. So, no, it's been fun. It's been energizing for me for sure.
In terms of Dennis Allen coming in here, it's a different style defense. It's not the Tampa 2. I was watching one of the preseason games, and you're bringing the house late in the game. I'm like, wow, this guy don't mess around. What's he like?
He's very militant-minded, that's all I would say. He's aggressive. He wants to be aggressive. You talked about him sitting in the house. Last game against Buffalo, I think maybe 4 times he ran the same blitz where he blitzed both safeties and just like, forget it, we're just sending them all. I don't care. We're knocking him out of field goal range. Like, when he wants to be aggressive, he's going to be aggressive. Our corner's going to be up pressed. We're going to disrupt receivers, disrupt the timing of the passing game. He wants, obviously, our pass rush to be super aggressive. And just his coaching style, being in the meetings. Like, there's no leaning back in the chairs, relaxing in the meetings. Like, no, you're sitting up because he's demanding the attention of the room. No, Dennis Allen, I mean, if you look at his track record and his defenses, they're normally ranked top 15, top 10 in the league. He's won a Super Bowl. He's been a part of Super Bowl winning teams. So with that type of resume, it's very easy to buy into what he's saying because he has the results that can show that, hey, when we do this, when we play like this, we can be successful. And he always says, man, it's not about what we play, it's how we play. We can call cover 2, we can call cover 3, and everybody runs the same stuff. But it's all about the mentality of how we play is what's most important. And I think, like I said, I'm excited for this year. I'm excited. I think all the guys are excited just based upon how he's calling games, how he's calling practice. It should make out for a great season, especially on defense for sure.
I've always looked at the Lions roster like 3 years ago, and I looked at Kap and I said, have you looked at their coaching staff? Forget the roster. You need talent to win. At the end of the day, talent wins football games.
Exactly.
I remember when I went back and looked at I'm like, have you seen Dan Campbell's staff?
That guy played.
I'm like, Hank Frey, Scotty Montgomery's the running backs coach. Every guy on the damn staff played in the league. And now you come to this staff, and Ben plucks a few of those guys. You get Dennis Allen, who's been a head coach in this league, and Randall L's in practice running down the sidelines.
The
Eric Bieniemy's coaching running backs.
He goes off.
He's good. He's a good one for sure.
Exactly. So how does that impact a roster when you have guys that put the work in and had a football card and on the back of it said 8 years, 3,000 yards rushing, etc. When you look up and down your staff and guys in the room, they've won Super Bowls, they've coached in big games, they've played in big games. How does that impact a roster?
Listen, like I said, I think, and this is speaking from a player's perspective, right? When you have a coach that's done it before, you know what I mean? Like even my safeties coach, Matt Giordano, he's played, I think, 9 years. He played 9 years in the league. He was a part of the Super Bowl winning team in Indianapolis, right? He caught a pick in the Super Bowl, which is crazy. But when you have somebody that's done it, that sat in the chairs that you sat in, right? You know what a daily grind is at training camp. You know what your body's gonna feel. You know how this and that's supposed to. But now he's on the other side of it. Like you said, when they're preaching certain things and adding in certain defenses, like they can add just a little bit more to it. Because hey, when I played in this type of system, like you said, whether it's Matt played in the system, whatever, I played in this type of system. Like, hey, I can give you a little bit more tips of how to make those certain plays. But like I said, it's easy to buy in. Like you said, if when you have that resume, and I can only speak from my experience, just remembering like when Vrabel came to Tennessee. I mean, he had won multiple Super Bowls. He's seen it done from Redovich Belichick. It's like, okay, like if this guy has seen it, how it's done, he's been in the building of teams that's winning Super Bowls. Obviously, he has the blueprint. So I think it's the same thing for this staff. People that's been successful in the league. Dennis Allen been a part of a Super Bowl winning defense. I mean, we show clips of, some of he got like archives, I would say, archives of some Saints defense. You watch those guys fly around when they was winning the Super Bowl. It's like, hey, if we play like this, we will be successful. So if you say you're all in, right?
Yep.
You're all in to win the Super Bowl. You're all in on, I want to go to the Pro Bowl. I wanted to do this. Like, well, yeah, you follow the leader. You know what I mean? And I think that's the best thing about having a staff as experienced and as good as this staff is, because it's very easy to follow because they've done it and they've seen it before.
One of the guys who I really like because I knew him when he was a kid is Antoine Randall.
Yeah.
I think he's the only human being that was drafted by the Cubs in baseball, threw a touchdown in the Super Bowl, quarterbacked a Big Ten team, and returned a kick for a touchdown.
He played quarterback in college?
Yeah,
He
Indiana.
did at Indiana.
Really?
That's
insane.
And he was a hell of a
And
quarterback.
Indiana was not Indiana as they are today. And he had them in bowl games. I think he was I think he got Heisman votes. I'll have to look that up.
Because I used to be a Steelers fan growing up, and I remember him being with the Steelers, and they would run a lot of trick plays, and he would throw passes, throw touchdowns, and stuff like that.
He played baseball at IU too for a while.
And he got drafted by the Cubs.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an athlete. He's obviously he's like our, I think, associate assistant head coach or something like that.
Wide receivers and
Wide
assistant
receiver,
head coach.
exactly.
But you got to get the promotion in order to be plugged.
Exactly, 100%. But no, man, I think he's a great addition that Ben Johnson brought over here. He's just a ball of energy every single day.
Yes.
And I think that, like, the thing that I think is special about him outside of his coaching ability is he's the same person every single day. And I think that, and as a player too, like when you're the same person every single day, you can trust that. You know what I mean? Like it's not like riding the highs of lows of, hey, good day, bad day. Yeah, he's coming in with the same energy every single day, the same enthusiasm. And he's a man of God, and I truly respect him as a man and as a coach for sure.
So last year when we were sitting here doing this show, you didn't know a lot of what to expect because it was your first year in Chicago.
Right.
You didn't know about weather, the division, how the crowd was going to be, etc. So fast forward to where we are today, new staff. I just feel like last year there was so much noise.
Yeah.
Not like in bad energy.
Sure.
Once it spiraled out of control, it felt like the noise just got louder and louder. Maybe internally, certainly outside.
Exactly.
There was a lot of stuff about Caleb.
Mm-hmm.
That's always going to be the case. When you go 1-1 and you're playing
For
for a charter franchise like the Chicago Bears, there's always going to be so much hype and attention. How does this group and what you've learned about being a Chicago Bear, how do you keep the noise to a minimum and just let the play and the results do the talking?
I mean, for me, definitely, this is my first time being a part of a major, media city organization. Obviously, Philly was a half a year, and that's a pretty big market, but this is the third largest market in the country. It was very loud last year, very loud. And I think for me, and just for this team, that something that we have to do better is you can't avoid the noise. It's like everybody has social media. If you ever hear an interview of a player saying, "Oh, I don't listen to the noise," they're lying. Like, the truth is, they're lying.
Because they hear it.
Because everybody hears it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody at the end of a game is sitting in their locker on their phone. Whether if they're answering text, they're on social media, good or bad, especially when it's good. You jump straight on social media, you type your name in, I want to see if people are talking good about me. But it's the same thing when you don't do well. You're going to see the noise, you're going to see it. And so it's not about if you can avoid listening to it or not hear it. It's more about just how you respond to it. You know what I mean? It's like, at the end of the day, great coaches will always say this. As a matter of fact, Ben Johnson spoke about this today. And I don't think it had anything to do with just stuff that happened recently. But even just the win that we had the other night, the 38-0 win, is like, take praise the same way that you take, somebody's adversity or somebody talking bad. Just take it with a grain of salt. Don't get too high, don't get too low. When you win, say less. When you lose, say even less. You know what I mean? So I just think that as a team and an organization, we have to just understand, and this is just real. What's in the building needs to find its way to stay in the building. There are going to be leaks. There are going to be stuff. People are going to talk, whatever it may be. But make sure that we're just handling it the right way and just don't get too high, too low. And at the end of the day, success cures all. Winning cures all, and that's what we need to do.
So one thing people are going to watch and say, how does Caleb look? He looked great in 2 drives the other day. From your defensive player, you're a captain here. How's he look?
He looks great, honestly. And I know there's been, talks of practice and he's been struggling. Number one, we have a really good defense. Let's just start that off. We have a really good defense. Dennis Allen has a great scheme that we're running. So, yeah, we're making it tough on him. But at the end of the day, that's making him better. And I think, and I say this all the time, Caleb is the most talented quarterback I've ever played with. He's a young player. He has all the makings of, you see why this guy was drafted number 1 overall. Now, has it been a learning curve? Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's basically learned 3 new systems in less than 18 months. So, yeah, it's a learning curve. But I think that, and Ben has spoke about this, he's throwing the kitchen sink at him, seeing what he can handle, how much can he basically regurgitate and do this and that. But once we get to the season, everything kind of, is going to be a lot more smaller or whatever. Everything's going to be more dialed in, I would say. But he's looked great in my opinion. And I think it's kind of showed the improvement that he's made over the past year or so, just based upon the small 2 drives or drive and a half that he played, the other night. And like I said, man, I think that Caleb has done a great job with handling what you spoke about before, just the noise. Honestly, we have so in our hydrotherapy room, we have a hot tub coat. We have TVs all in there, right? I can almost promise you every single day I go in there and they got a TV on ESPN or Fox Sports, Caleb is literally on there every single day. Every single day. And I'm sitting here like, number one, I'm almost saying, thank God I'm not this famous. You know what I mean? Because I wouldn't be able to take somebody talking about me, critiquing me every single day. But, I mean, that's the price of doing business, that, you're the starting quarterback of Chicago Bears. But I think he does a great job of not getting too high or too low. And he knows who he is. He knows who he is as a person, as a player. And he sticks to that. And I truly respect him for that. And like I said, man, I think he's going to have a hell of a year. Like I said, I think he's taken as much criticism as he can from the media or whatever, just, over the past couple months, because people may take a small clip of a passenger that he doesn't make it into the little bucket. I mean, for me, it's ridiculous. I think judge him based upon what you see this upcoming season, and I'm expecting great things.
So I was going at it with who's a friend of mine, Chris Canty, who won a Super Bowl. He's on ESPN, Unsportsmanlike in the morning. And I said, all you people out there, you national analysts, none of you have been to one practice.
Haven't seen him at all.
But all they do is parrot the same line that's out there.
And listen, the quarterback play in this league has dramatically gotten so much better, even than when I first came into this league, honestly. These rookies and young guys are coming to this league miles better than they were. It used to be where you draft a quarterback in the first round. More often than not, they sat. Like, honestly, or you would have a veteran in place. Nowadays, the expectations, you come in and you basically take your team to the conference championship game like Jaden Daniels. It's like every year they're pushing the bar a little higher. It went from Justin Herbert at first until then C.J. Stroud being so great and Jaden Daniels. So it's like everybody's being measured at the same thing, which is, I mean, it is what it is. Like you said, this is the business that we're in. But at the same time, everybody's trajectory, everybody's path isn't the same. When you look at Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, I'm not comparing Caleb Williams to those guys, but it's just like, okay, just because you don't have the same type of season as this player A, does that mean that you're a far worse player? I mean, they're both still young. They both have, and I'm talking about all these young quarterbacks. Like I said, C.J. Stroud, they wouldn't say that last year was better than his rookie year. Does that mean he's a worse player? No. I mean, every year is going to be different. So, but I could just based off what I see every single day, and I see a great young quarterback that's getting better and better.
I want to ask you one more about Caleb, because there's been a lot of guys that have come through this city and played that position, and the expectation was, here's our savior, here's our franchise. Here, you've heard it in the little time you've been here. You've heard it. Now Caleb is that guy. There's never been a 4,000-yard passer, and you look at the record books, and there's guys from the 50s and 60s that are still leading the wide receiver, all-time yards, etc.
Right.
So all of the stuff you just said about Caleb, what's impressed you most, or why can he be that dude? Because he has embraced all of that, which I love. That to me is the most impressive. All the TVs, he doesn't ask anybody to turn those off.
Exactly.
The noise, he might tell you to turn them up.
Exactly.
Because he wants to be great. He goes in front of a podium and says, I want to complete 70% of my passes and be the first to throw for 4,000 yards. A lot of people think that's ballsy. I love it.
Exactly.
And if he doesn't get there, then he'll own it. He said that. So I love the tools that he has. The things he did in the Sunday night game against Buffalo showed that he's already made progress. But what thing that you can't see on tape, that you can't see on film,
that you get to see,
makes you believe Caleb will be that guy, or
honestly,
can be that guy?
No, honestly, I don't think it's really any type of secret sauce. Honestly, I think it's Ben. And the reason why I say Ben is because not only just what he's bringing as a coach, his scheme, the way he coaches, the talent we have around Caleb, and I think that's something that Ben has been coaching him up or just letting him know, that you don't have to play hero ball. You don't have to be the savior. Let the fans call you the savior. Let what everybody else say you're the savior, but just be the quarterback of the Chicago Bears and use all these beautiful toys that you have around you. Right, if it's a check down, whatever it may be, just get the ball to your playmakers and let them do the magic. And I think that's the thing that I've seen, the progression. I've seen him from versus this year to last year. I mean, we all see Caleb maybe was holding the ball a little bit longer, stuff like that. But I think, just like I said, the system that he has in place, what Ben has in place with him, and the weapons we have, there's no reasons why all those records that you talked about shouldn't be broken within the next couple, if not few years. You know what I mean? You talk about from DJ to Rome, to Luther. I mean, I don't know if you guys knew about this guy, but OZ, number 14.
Mm-hmm. Oh, immediately Zacchaeus?
Honestly, he's probably having the best camp out of him. I know the talk has about been Rome, Luther, but OZ's been having a great camp. So, I mean, we have a lot of weapons on offense from the receiver position. Still got Swift. We got the 7th-round rookie, who I think has been looking really good. And then, obviously, Cole and Colston, who I think Colston's going to be a hell of a player. Think about how many weapons that is.
Crazy.
And I'm just, like you said, I don't think Ben, even during training camp, has shown us as much as what he's going to do with all those pieces.
He just said today that he just went to dusted off an old playbook from a couple of years ago and ran it on Sunday night.
I literally think he has a training camp playbook, and then he's going to have a regular season playbook.
Okay, here's what we're doing now.
I'm telling you, because the weapons that we have and the amount of the different skill sets and versatility from the pieces that we have, is going to be special. I mean, you're going to see guys lined up all over the place. And like I said, it's going to be very fun. And all Caleb's got to do is just distribute. You know what I mean? He doesn't have to do anything. And obviously, Caleb's going to do Caleb. He's going to have those plays where every single game is wow, nobody else can do that but Caleb. But I think for the most part, 90 to 95% of the time, he's not going to have to do that. Just based upon what I've seen, I don't think he's going to have to do that. Now, it's going to be times in 2-minute drills that Caleb's going to do Caleb, and he's going to work his magic. But for the most part, he shouldn't have to worry about that. And that's going to be on our defense as well, making sure we're holding the fort down as well.
How's your body? 10 years, most physical camp you've had. And I just heard, it was Montez Sweat on the NFL Network. He said, I've hit more in this camp than in 7 years in the NFL. How does the body feel?
That's true. Honestly, man, the body doesn't feel too bad, honestly. It doesn't. And I guess I'm just comparing it to some of these other guys that's been playing in all these preseason games and stuff like that. The body doesn't feel too bad. Honestly, man, going into this training camp, you get to year 10, and it's always a thought process, man, how many more years can I do this? You know what I mean? And after this camp, obviously this camp's about to break soon. I know for a fact I can play a lot more years if I want to. And even being in a physical training camp like this, it's been fun, man. And like I said, the body doesn't feel too bad. And obviously once we get past this last preseason game, we'll have a little bit more time. And obviously we got a Monday night game that I'm super excited about opening the season in Minnesota. It's going to be awesome.
Super cool.
We got a show here called Intercepted with Kevin Byard. Okay, so for those of you who didn't see season 1, go back on the channel, dig up some of the old episodes. They're there. They're on the channel. You can see what it's all about. But now this guy's a seasoned veteran, not just on the field, but in this seat.
Yeah.
What can we expect in season 2? Who's a guy that you got in the back of your mind? You're like, damn, I really want to get that guy.
Well, for obvious reasons, Caleb. You know what I mean? I definitely want to be able to get Caleb on the show. Because obviously Caleb is probably one of the more unique people that we have on our team, just because the different interests that he's in. He's into watches like me. He's into fashion and a bunch of different things. He talk about his off-season travels and stuff like that. Because obviously this is a football podcast or show. But obviously, if you guys have watched some of the episodes, I like to really dive into the person outside of the football playing field, so you can truly learn about guys, because we're so much more than football players, and I think that's something that I want the audience to kind of know. So, but obviously, yeah, Caleb is a guy that I'm going to try to track down. This guy's very busy and hard to reach during the season, which is understandable for our franchise quarterback. But he's that's probably one of the top goals the guys to get on here. So I'm super excited about that. But also get some of the rookies.
Yeah. Get
Colston, talk about the rookie performances, rookie show. He did
Mario. Idaho farmer.
Idaho, and that's something I definitely want to talk to him about. This is probably the first person I ever met from Idaho. So I got some questions.
There's only like 17 that ever came through Idaho. No, I'm kidding. I guess
it might be. You might not be far off. So I'm excited about that for sure.
What about Joe Thuney? Because a lot of the talk was they got to get an alpha on the offensive side of the football.
Right.
Like Caleb's a rookie last year, but they need an alpha, some guy that everyone goes, okay, he's the boss.
Yeah.
He seems like he's the alpha.
He definitely is, man. He just brings a certain pedigree. I think he's won 3 Super Bowls. He brings a certain pedigree that's just immediately respected in the locker room. And I think he was, if not one of the best, if not the best addition that we had to this team, to this offense. He's just a pro. He does everything right. When coach is putting up film in the team meet room, like, I don't think this guy does anything wrong. You know what I mean? He has great feet, great footwork, great pad level, and like I said, he's an alpha. And I think I would be shocked if he's not one of our team captains this year, just based upon just the respect that people have of him, his career, just what he brings every single day to this team for sure.
So I went on vacation in March with my wife to Mexico, and don't know anybody there. We're just chilling, and we're at dinner. And this guy walks by me, and I'm like, oh, God, I know who that is. It was Michael Penix Jr., the quarterback of the Falcons. And so my wife immediately sees him. She goes, who is that? I told her. She goes, don't you dare go up to him. He's on vacation. Leave him alone.
Right.
The next day is free agency is when it started. I go to the pool, and he's laying this close to me. And I had a Bears shirt on.
Okay.
And he said, hey, what's up, man? Bears, huh? I said, yeah, and I think we're stealing one of your guys.
Yeah.
Who are you getting? I said, Drew Dahlman. He said, you're taking my center?
Oh, my God.
And then 20 minutes later, I come back with a drink, and I said, by the way, Grady Jarrett just got released and signed with the Bears. He's like, no!
Oh, my God.
He was so mad.
Yeah,
super
man.
dude, super cool guy.
No, those 2 guys as well, man. Like I said, outside of Joe Thuney, man, those guys have been big to our team. Number 1, Grady Jarrett, I think he's going to year 11 as well. Like you said, almost just like Joe Thuney, this guy does everything the right way. Brings an intensity level to practice. If I would say an alpha on our defense, especially on defensive line, it's definitely Grady. He's the one bringing the noise every single day. He's setting the tempo. I love everything about him. And Drew Dahlman, have you seen this guy's calf muscles?
They're insane.
No, like real talk, bro. His calf
like
muscles
caricatures?
Yes, huge. I'm like this. Like when I first seen him at practice during the spring, I said this guy's built like a huge fullback or something like that, but he's big enough to play center. Like his lower body is insanely. This guy's super duper strong. But like I said, I think that just the pickups we made on the D line, the offensive line, is gonna do wonders for this team, especially on the interior offensive line, which was needed for sure.
So somebody up here told me that Grady Jarrett stood up at the end of mini camp and spoke to the entire team.
He did.
And they hadn't asked him to do it.
Right.
He just said, I want to say something. We have everything we need right here to realize our dreams. I've been in other places. You guys have no idea how good you have it, and it's on us now, nobody else. Is that?
No, he did. He said those exact words, and I think he said some more, some other stuff just along the lines of just like realizing that the position that we're in, being like the talent that we have on this team, like we'll be fools not to be able to accomplish the goals that we want to accomplish. Every single day coming in here, putting in your hard hat. Like you said, the guy's incredible. And you can see why he was a long-time team captain down there in Atlanta. Honestly, I'm not even This business works very funny. I'm not even sure how they let that guy out the building, honestly. Like I said, the guy is not only is a great player, he's a great man, great leader. I'm glad he's on our team now, for sure.
Last thing I have for you, not pushing the record aside, no one's making predictions here, but when people talk about the 2025 Chicago Bears 4 months from now, what are they going to talk about the Chicago Bears?
Well, hopefully, 4 months from now, when is that? December, January?
Yeah.
Hopefully we're talking playoffs, number one. But nah, I mean, honestly, just as a persona of just who we are, our brand of football, we want to bring back, that old school Bears mentality, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Like I said before, it's not about what we play, it's how we play. And we want to be able to play fast, aggressive, violent, and physical. Like, that's really like our 4 pillars of what we want to do. On offense, obviously, we want to see us putting up points on the scoreboard. I mean, I think that's just on both sides of the ball. We want us stopping guys. We want us to be putting up as many points. One of the first meetings that we had with Ben Johnson, he's not afraid to say that he wants to put up 40 points a game. Like, he said at one of the first meetings in the spring, like, he wants to, I don't want to say the word because it's bad, it's the K word, but he wants to K all our opponents. You know what I mean? Like, that's his mentality. That's what he wants the offensive mentality to be as well. And it's vice versa on defense. So just that persona of the Bears, we want that when a team is scouting us and they're watching the film, they want to be like, holy cow. Like, look at those guys run and fly around to the ball. And same thing on offense. And I think that's the mentality and persona we want to have as a team. But we want to be talking playoffs. I think with the team that we have this year, anything less than that and making a run in the tournament, in my opinion, is a failure. It's a massive failure, in my opinion, just because of, I think, of the guys, the makeup of the team, the makeup of the guys we have. We need to be making a run in this tournament.
One thing I noticed, last thing for me, the ball was on the ground multiple times, incomplete pass, whatever. Somebody's always diving on the ball. Let the referee tell you that it's incomplete. We haven't seen that around here.
That's Dennis Allen for sure. He has certain principles that he believes in how we practice every single day. A ball's on the ground, it must be scooped up. It doesn't matter if it rolled 30 yards down the field, somebody needs to scoop up the ball. And he has another principle of stopping the ball during practice. So for most people that have been to an NFL training camp practice, it's very non-contact. Even when you have pads on, it's not really a whole lot of contact. Yeah, honestly, it's not really a whole lot. Like, if you're within like the first 5 to 10 yards, you can fit a guy up. It's called a thud. You thud a guy up, let him run. Normally, if you're like running from the side as a DB, you normally just tag off or something like that. Then the side don't want to see none of that. He want to see you he want to see the ball carrier, whoever has the ball, his forward progress to be completely stopped before you let him go. Wow. Like, on every single play. And I'm not talking about just pads. I'm talking about no pads. So think about that. You know what I mean? Like, no pads. And then we work our red zone. He don't want to see anybody literally going in the end zone. Like, literally, if somebody goes into the end zone, I don't care if it was we put the ball on the 5-yard line, somebody goes in the end zone, he is dog cussing us out in the meeting. And it's not because he's just being anal about it. It's really just like a mentality. It's like, he's asking us, like, do you want to see people running the end zone? I know I don't. He's like, maybe I'm crazy. And honestly, it's something that I think is just kind of bleeds into everybody's, like I said, mentality. It's like, bro, we don't want anybody to score at all. I mean, like I said, I know it's preseason, but the stats Ben Johnson spoke about in the preseason, which I don't think I've ever seen in a preseason game, they were 0 for 10 on third downs. We didn't let them down in the red zone at all. They only had like 130 total yards.
It was crazy.
You don't see shutouts.
Yards. It was crazy.
It was 580 to like 120.
Yeah, it was something crazy. And like I said, I know it's preseason, but it's something to be excited about just as a team and just the depth that we have on the team. And I think we can all agree with as tough as this training camp has been, we're ready for the regular season to start for sure.
Welcome back, man.
Absolutely. Glad to be back, man.
We appreciate you.
Excited for season 2.
There you go.
Sure.
Can't wait for the first guest.
Intercepted with Kevin Byard. You'll get it throughout the NFL season. And also join us some Tuesday nights for our Studio 41 football recap live.
Bam.
Bam.